the human princess, led the war from the front lines. At the forefront of that defiance was Princess Alara, heir to the throne of Earth's interstellar coalition. Unlike most royals, she did not sit in comfortable halls making distant decisions. She preferred the smell of engines, the hum of starship reactors, and the disciplined chaos of the front lines. Alara walked among her soldiers with a measured grace. Her uniform was practical, designed for battle rather than ceremony, and the insignia of her royal house gleamed on her shoulder. Around her, the hum of the fleet's engines vibrated through the corridors, a constant reminder that their lives hung in the balance. For months, scouts had reported movements from the Jaren Coalition, an alliance of alien species that considered humans inferior. They believed humans lacked the technology, strategy, and discipline to survive interstellar war. They were wrong. The princess paused at a viewport, staring at the approaching enemy ships. They were larger than any human cruiser, with angular hulls that shimmered with strange energy. She knew that this would be the first real test of her command. Not just her leadership, but her ability to inspire humans to fight in a galaxy where they were underestimated at every turn. "Princess," said Lieutenant Jaren, a seasoned officer with a sharp mind and a steady hand, "they're within range. Orders." Alara turned, her eyes calm yet burning with determination. "We fight, but not like they expect. Form the front lines, but stay mobile. Use our smaller ships to draw them in. Let them chase us, they'll tire before we do." Jaren raised an eyebrow. "And then?" "Then," she said, a faint smile playing on her lips, "we show them why humans survive against impossible odds." The first clash was chaotic. Human frigates darted like swarms of fireflies against the massive alien cruisers. Lasers and energy pulses cut through the void, illuminating the dark with bursts of color. The Jaren fleet was confident, expecting an easy victory. But humans fought with unpredictable maneuvers, splitting into small groups, feinting retreats, and attacking from unexpected angles. Alara's command ship, the Aurora, was right in the middle of it. She stood on the bridge, giving direct orders, her voice calm but commanding. "Red Squadron, flank from the upper right. Blue Squadron, draw them toward the asteroid field. Keep moving, don't let them predict you." Her soldiers moved as one, inspired by her presence. They didn't just follow orders, they anticipated her thinking, reacting with creativity and courage. Even the most disciplined alien forces struggled to respond to the humans' unconventional strategies. Hours passed. Ships were damaged, some destroyed, but the human fleet held. And then came the unexpected. The Jaren deployed an elite strike force, shimmering in a blue energy field that humans had never encountered before. They moved fast, precise, and deadly, intending to cut the Aurora off from the rest of the fleet. Alara did not flinch. Instead, she leaned over the tactical display, tracing the enemy's movements. "They're fast," she murmured, "but predictable if you watch closely." She tapped a sequence into the controls. "Prepare the decoys. We'll lead them toward the nebula cluster. Their sensors will be confused. Stay tight and don't panic." The fleet executed her orders flawlessly. As the decoys fired, the elite strike force pursued them into the nebula, only to emerge scattered and disoriented. The humans seized the opportunity, striking from multiple angles. Explosions rippled through the void as the Jaren fighters were forced to retreat. When the battle ended, silence filled the bridge. The stars outside seemed peaceful again, but everyone knew the galaxy was far from calm. Lieutenant Jaren approached Alara cautiously. "You could have stayed in the rear," he said. "Command from safety." Alara shook her head. "Command from a distance is safe, but it is hollow. My people need to see that humans do not cower. They need to see that their leader is willing to share every risk. Fear is contagious, but so is courage." Her words were not just for Jaren. Every officer, every pilot, every soldier on the bridge felt them. They understood that the princess was more than a figurehead. She was the heart of their fight, a living example of human tenacity. As the fleet regrouped, intelligence reports arrived. More alien forces were on the move, not just Jaren but other factions who had watched the first skirmish with curiosity. They assumed humans were a minor annoyance, an easy target. The truth was, humans were unpredictable, adaptive, and fearless in ways the galaxy had yet to comprehend. Alara knew that the real test was not the battle itself, but the war to come. For every victory, there would be another challenge, another enemy assuming humans were weak. And she would be there on the front lines, proving them wrong time and time again. That night, she walked the corridors of her ship, passing exhausted but determined soldiers. She stopped at a medical bay, watching medics tend to minor injuries, offering words of encouragement. A young pilot, barely out of training, looked up at her. "Princess, I didn't think we could win," he admitted. Alara knelt to meet his eyes. "You won because you believed in each other, because you fought smarter, not just harder. That is what makes humans dangerous. Not technology alone, not numbers alone, our mind, our will, and our refusal to accept defeat." The young pilot nodded, a spark of determination lighting his face. Around the ship, whispers of admiration for the princess spread. Her courage and leadership were becoming legend, not because she was royal, but because she was human, resilient, resourceful, and unbroken. In the quiet of the observation deck, Alara gazed at the stars again. She thought of the planets under human protection, of the lives depending on her decisions, and of the countless threats lurking in the void. Yet fear did not grip her. Every challenge was an opportunity, every enemy a test of human ingenuity. Suddenly, the communications console beeped. An encrypted message from the Jaren coalition arrived, marked urgent. The officer at the console looked worried. "Princess, it's a warning," he said. "They know you were leading from the front. They're sending their elite command unit. They want you captured or eliminated." Alara's eyes narrowed, but her lips curved into a small, confident smile. "Then we will prepare. Humans are stronger when they fight together. Let them come. They will learn what the galaxy has not yet understood. Underestimating humans is the gravest mistake an alien can make." That night, the Aurora sailed through the starlit void, carrying its fearless crew into the unknown. Princess Alara walked among them, sharing their burdens, matching their fears with courage. She was not just a leader, she was a symbol. And in the galaxy that had dismissed humanity as weak, she was a living promise that humans would not just survive, they would thrive. As the stars stretched endlessly ahead, she whispered to herself, "This is only the beginning." And somewhere, deep in the shadowed reaches of space, the Jaren elite forces prepared to make their move. They believed they were the hunters. They had yet to learn that with humans, the hunted can become the hunters in a heartbeat. The first part of the war had ended. But for Princess Alara, the true battle was only just beginning, and she would face it from the place she had chosen, not behind walls or shields, but among the hearts of those she fought to protect. Every human soul on her side was a reminder that courage, intelligence, and determination could defy the impossible. Alara looked out at the stars one last time before sleep claimed her. Tomorrow she would stand among her soldiers once again, ready to fight, ready to lead, and ready to show the galaxy that humanity could never be underestimated. The night passed slowly on the Aurora, with distant stars shimmering like cold fire. Princess Alara hardly slept. Her mind raced with strategies, anticipating every possible move the Jaren coalition might take. She had seen their first skirmish underestimated humans and paid for it with surprise attacks, but the elite force now coming for her was another matter entirely. At dawn, the bridge of the Aurora buzzed with urgency. Officers gathered around the tactical display, showing multiple alien ships approaching from different angles. The elite command unit had arrived, and they were faster, larger, and far more precise than anything humans had faced before. Lieutenant Jaren studied the display, frowning. They're moving in coordinated formations, Princess. They've learned from our tactics. If they breach our lines, the fleet could be trapped. Alara didn't flinch. Then we make them learn again, she said, her voice steady. Humans fight smarter than anyone expects. Every battle is a puzzle, and every enemy underestimates us until it's too late. The fleet prepared. Smaller human ships moved into the asteroid belts to create confusion, while larger cruisers took positions near the nebula clouds to hide from sensors. Alara personally oversaw every movement, walking among her officers, adjusting plans on the fly. As the alien elite force drew closer, its energy shields flaring under the nebula's radiation, Alara addressed the entire crew. This is no ordinary battle. They expect us to run, to hide, to fail. But humans do not run from impossible odds. Remember what you fight for: your families, your planets, and your pride. Fight with your minds, fight with your hearts, and most of all, fight as one. Her words resonated through the ship. Soldiers straightened, their eyes reflecting the glow of distant stars. For them, Alara was not just a princess. She was a symbol of their strength, their resilience, and their defiance. The first engagement began in the cold darkness of space. Alien ships moved like predatory shadows, their weapons cutting through debris and plasma clouds. Human pilots executed complex maneuvers, weaving among asteroids, diving through nebula gas, and using decoy drones to confuse sensors. Alara watched the unfolding battle from the bridge, calculating every angle. Red Squadron, take the upper flank and cut their supply line. Blue Squadron, follow the decoys and draw them into the asteroid field. Everyone else, stay ready to adapt. The elite alien forces responded with terrifying precision. They anticipated human moves, shifting formations with speed and accuracy. For a moment, it seemed that the humans were cornered. Ships were damaged, alarms blared, and the hum of reactors vibrated through the hull. But humans had something the aliens did not: imagination and unpredictability. Alara spotted a pattern in the elite forces' maneuvers, a subtle repetition in their approach. They are strong, she told Jaren, but they rely on patterns. Humans don't follow patterns, we create them. She devised a daring plan. Smaller human vessels would feign retreat toward a dense cluster of asteroids while the larger ships circled to trap the elite force. It was risky. One miscalculation could destroy half the fleet. But humans thrived on risk, especially when courage was guided by clever thinking. The feigned retreat began. Human ships darted like shadows among the rocks, drawing the alien elite forward. Their sensors struggled to track every movement, and their shields flickered as energy pulses bounced off the asteroids. The elite force was confident, believing humans were fleeing. Then came the counterattack. From concealed positions, the larger human cruisers struck simultaneously from multiple directions. Energy beams cut through space, hitting the alien ships at weak points Alara had identified. The elite force, for the first time, seemed unprepared. Confusion spread among their ranks. Alara's voice rang out over the comms, calm but sharp. Now, strike together. Focus on precision, not strength. Every hit counts. Every move counts. The battle raged for hours, each side suffering losses. But the humans' unconventional strategies began to take effect. Alien ships that had seemed invincible were forced to retreat or risk total destruction. Soldiers cheered at every small victory, but Alara knew the fight was far from over. During a lull in the fighting, intelligence reports revealed a chilling fact. The Jaren had not sent only elite soldiers. They were accompanied by automated drones and AI-controlled warships capable of predicting human tactics to an alarming degree. It was a technological nightmare. Lieutenant Jaren frowned. "Princess, even our clever tactics might not be enough. These machines learn as fast as we adapt." Alara's expression hardened. "Then we fight differently. We don't just react, we innovate. Humans are unpredictable in ways machines cannot predict. Every human mind is unique, and that is our advantage. She called a meeting with her top pilots and strategists. "Listen to me," she said. "We need to think like them, but also think beyond them. Their AI predicts patterns, but humans create exceptions. We will divide our forces, simulate errors, and exploit their hesitation. This is not just about strength, it is about creativity and courage." The human officers nodded, energized by her confidence. They began implementing her strategies immediately. Smaller ships executed erratic movements, sometimes retreating, sometimes circling, while human pilots communicated silently through hand signals and prearranged codes. Meanwhile, Alara took a personal risk. She climbed into a fighter ship, her insignia marking her as the princess, and joined the front lines. Her presence inspired her soldiers. Seeing their leader among them gave them courage and determination. As she maneuvered through the chaos of battle, she observed patterns the AI could not adapt to: hesitation, instinctive fear, and overconfidence in the enemy. She directed human pilots to exploit these patterns, turning the fight into a series of calculated surprises. Hours turned into a grueling dance of skill, strategy, and courage. The elite alien force, powerful and precise, was slowly overwhelmed by human unpredictability. Ships that had once dominated the battlefield were now retreating or destroyed. Even amid the success, Alara remained vigilant. She knew that overconfidence could be fatal. She continuously assessed every move, ensuring her soldiers were safe and that the battle plan adapted to every unexpected development. Finally, as the stars above turned faint with the approach of a new day, the last of the elite alien ships retreated. The human fleet had survived, not because of superior technology, but because of leadership, courage, and ingenuity. On the bridge, officers exhaled, some leaning against consoles in exhaustion. Alara stood tall, her gaze fixed on the retreating enemies. Lieutenant Jaren approached, his face a mixture of relief and admiration. "Princess, you risked yourself in the fight, but it worked. We've won this engagement." Alara shook her head slightly. "This was only one battle. They will regroup and the war is far from over. But we have proven something important today. Humans adapt, humans endure, and humans can face any challenge. They may underestimate us, but we will continue to show them why they should never do so again." Word of the victory spread quickly among the fleet. Soldiers celebrated, but more importantly, they gained confidence. Seeing their princess on the front lines, sharing every risk, inspired them to fight with unmatched determination. It was not just the human skills that won the battle, it was their unity, their courage, and the presence of a leader who believed in them completely. That evening, Alara walked among the crew, offering quiet words of encouragement. She visited the medbay, checking on injured soldiers and the engineers, praising their ingenuity in keeping ships functional under fire. Every interaction strengthened the bond between leader and people, proving that courage and empathy were as vital as weapons and shields. As she returned to her quarters, a new communication arrived. It was from an unknown source, an alien voice, calm but unmistakably respectful. "Princess Alara, your victories have been observed. Your people's resourcefulness is unexpected. We wish to speak with you not as enemies but as potential allies." Alara paused, considering the message. The galaxy was vast, and while many still underestimated humans, some had begun to recognize their true potential. She responded carefully, aware that diplomacy now had as much importance as battlefield skill. Her thoughts wandered as she looked at the stars outside her window. She thought of the humans across the galaxy, of their ingenuity and courage, and of the challenges yet to come. The war was far from over, but with her at the front, leading by example, humanity had a chance to prove itself as a force no alien could ignore. Sleep finally came, brief and restless. Dreams were filled with distant stars and the hum of ships at war, but Alara felt a quiet confidence. She had survived the first true test of the elite alien force and had led her people with courage and cleverness. Tomorrow, the battle would continue, and she would be ready, standing where she belonged, at the front lines with her soldiers, facing the galaxy head-on. The war for humanity's place in the stars had escalated, and the galaxy had begun to take notice. Princess Alara's leadership was not just about command. It was about proving that humans were capable of extraordinary feats when driven by courage, intelligence, and unity. And as the stars glimmered in the cold void, she whispered to herself, "We are only beginning to show what humans can do." The aftermath of the first battles weighed heavily on the human fleet. Ships needed repairs, crews needed rest, and the threat of the Jaren coalition's return hung like a shadow over every star. Yet Princess Alara did not linger in the quiet. She understood that survival alone would not secure humanity's future. Humans had to take the fight to their enemies, to show the galaxy that their courage and ingenuity could overcome even the most technologically advanced foes. Early in the morning, she called a meeting of her top officers and strategists. The bridge of the Aurora buzzed with energy, the hum of engines underscoring the urgency in the room. Alara stood at the center, her presence commanding yet approachable, inspiring confidence in all who looked at her. "The enemy has underestimated us," she began. "They expect humans to react, to retreat, to follow predictable paths. But humans do not follow, they adapt. We will use that advantage to turn the tide." Lieutenant Jaren nodded, spreading schematics across the table. "We've gathered intelligence on their remaining forces. They're strong, but their strategy is rigid. They rely on AI prediction and coordinated formations. If we can disrupt those systems, even temporarily, we can gain control of the battlefield." Alara leaned over the schematics, tracing lines with her finger. "Then we divide and confuse them. We attack where they are least prepared, use smaller strike teams to draw attention and create openings for our main fleet. We fight smart, not just hard. Every pilot, every soldier must be ready to think on their feet. Improvisation will be our greatest weapon." Her officers nodded in agreement, energized by her clarity and conviction. Human ingenuity had already proven itself, and now it was time to escalate. The first move was subtle but daring. Alara led a small fleet to a system near the outer rim, where the Jaren had established a minor supply route. Their scouts assumed the humans would focus on defense, and many had already begun to underestimate them once more. That was exactly what Alara intended. Flying at high speed through the void, Alara's ship maneuvered with precision, weaving through asteroid fields and using gravitational anomalies to hide their approach. Her pilots followed her lead, trusting her instincts as much as their own training. When they arrived at the supply route, the humans struck with precision. They disabled drones, captured vital resources, and disrupted communications. It was not a major battle, but it sent a clear message. Humans were bold, unpredictable, and capable of offensive operations the enemy had not anticipated. As the small fleet returned, reports arrived from other human ships. The Jaren coalition was reacting, dispatching forces to counter the human movements. Alara studied the incoming intelligence carefully. "They are predictable in their response," she said. "We bait them into overextending. We strike where they are weakest, and we force them to reveal themselves." Over the next days, the human fleet executed a series of calculated strikes. Each engagement was different, each battle testing the limits of human creativity. They used debris fields for cover, feigned retreats to lure enemies into traps, and even exploited planetary gravity to gain speed and tactical advantage. The aliens were powerful, but their reliance on rigid strategy and AI prediction made them vulnerable to humans who could think outside patterns. One evening, as the fleet rested near a neutral star, Alara walked among the soldiers. Exhaustion was visible on their faces, but so was determination. She stopped to speak with a young engineer repairing a damaged engine. "Your work keeps us moving," she said, offering a sincere smile. "Without you, none of this would be possible. Remember, every role matters. Courage is not just fighting, it's contributing to the mission wherever you are." The engineer's eyes lit up. "Thank you, Princess. It means a lot to hear that from you." Alara moved on, passing the medbay where doctors tended to the wounded. She offered words of encouragement, a quiet strength that made even the most weary soldier feel their role was essential. Her leadership was not only in battle, it was in showing that every human, no matter their rank or duty, was vital to the survival and success of their species. Meanwhile, the Jaren coalition regrouped. They could not ignore the humans any longer, and reports of their unexpected victories reached alien leaders across multiple systems. One alien commander, a tall figure with blue-scaled skin and glowing eyes, observed the reports with growing unease. "These humans," he muttered to his officers, "they adapt too quickly. Every move we predict is countered. They are different from what we expected." But the aliens were proud and stubborn. They refused to acknowledge human ingenuity as a true threat. They believed superior technology would eventually overwhelm any human resistance. Yet the humans' next move would challenge that assumption. Alara called another meeting, this time including diplomats from neighboring neutral systems. "Allies are crucial," she told them. "Some races have suffered under the coalition. Others fear their strength. We can offer mutual protection, shared intelligence, and joint operations. Together, we can amplify what humans alone have already proven, that courage and ingenuity can overcome even the most powerful enemies." The negotiations were delicate. Many were cautious, reluctant to commit to open conflict with a coalition known for ruthlessness. But Alara's presence, her willingness to fight alongside humans and lead from the front, impressed them. Slowly, alliances formed, not out of blind trust but from respect and recognition of human determination. With new allies, the human fleet grew stronger. Ships from different systems added firepower, reconnaissance capabilities, and unique technologies that humans quickly adapted to their strategies. Alara's leadership fostered unity. Despite differences in species and culture, they all shared a common goal: resisting the Jaren coalition and proving that no being, human or alien, could be dismissed. As the fleet prepared for their next major operation, Alara climbed into her fighter once more. She had learned the value of personal involvement. Seeing the battle firsthand allowed her to react instantly, inspire her soldiers, and exploit enemy weaknesses as they appeared. The mission was bold. They targeted a strategic coalition outpost, one that controlled supply routes across several systems. The outpost was heavily defended, its energy shields nearly impenetrable, and patrolled constantly by elite fighters. Many would have hesitated at the sight of such overwhelming force. Not Alara. She led her squadron in, weaving through asteroid debris and using energy readings to find weak points in the shields. The first strike disabled key defensive systems, and the human forces pressed forward, precise and coordinated. The coalition fighters reacted swiftly, but the humans' unpredictability and creative tactics forced them onto the defensive. Throughout the battle, Alara moved with remarkable skill, coordinating attacks in real time while engaging in dogfights herself. She inspired confidence in every pilot, showing that leadership was not just issuing orders, it was sharing risk, sharing courage, and showing that no enemy was unbeatable. Hours passed, but finally the humans captured the outpost. Communications were restored, supply lines disrupted, and the Jaren coalition was forced to retreat from that sector. It was a decisive victory, not because humans were stronger, but because they had thought differently, acted bravely, and worked as one. On the bridge of the Aurora, Alara addressed her crew. "Today, we have shown that humanity is not to be underestimated. Our courage, creativity, and unity have turned the tide, but this is only the beginning. The coalition will regroup, and the challenges ahead will be greater. We must remain vigilant, adaptable, and resolute. Every human, every ally has a role to play. Together, we are unstoppable. Her words resonated across the fleet. Soldiers cheered, engineers nodded, and allies from distant systems felt a renewed sense of purpose. Humans had proven their resilience, their ingenuity, and their ability to inspire others. Alara had not only led them to victory, but had shown the galaxy what it meant to fight with heart, intelligence, and unwavering courage. That night, as the stars stretched across the void, Alara reflected on the battles so far. Humans had survived the first wave, turned the tide with bold strategies, and built alliances that would strengthen them in the days ahead. Yet she knew the war was far from over. The Jaren coalition would return, and perhaps more powerful enemies would appear. But Alara did not feel fear. She felt determination. Every victory, every clever maneuver, every inspired soldier reinforced what she already knew. Humans were capable of extraordinary feats when united by courage and guided by intelligence. And as long as she led from the front, showing that no risk was too great and no challenge insurmountable, humanity's star would continue to rise. In the quiet of her quarters, she whispered to herself, "We will endure, we will adapt, and we will show the galaxy that humans are a force unlike any other." Outside, the stars remained constant, silent witnesses to a species that refused to bow, and to a princess who would lead them fearlessly into every battle yet to come. The galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Princess Alara's fleet, strengthened by alliances with other species and battle-hardened by months of relentless combat, prepared for the final confrontation with the Jaren coalition. Reports indicated that the enemy had amassed their full strength, bringing reinforcements from multiple systems, determined to crush humanity once and for all. Alara stood on the bridge of the Aurora, staring at the star maps displayed before her. The enemy's formations were vast and intimidating, with ships of every size and capability converging toward key human-held systems. But she did not feel fear. She felt clarity, determination, and a fierce confidence in the ingenuity and courage of her people. "Princess," Lieutenant Jaren said, approaching with urgency, "they're moving faster than expected. If we don't act, they could strike multiple planets before we can consolidate our defenses." Alara's eyes narrowed. "Then we act first. Humans have survived against impossible odds before, and we will do so again. This is the moment to remind the galaxy who we are." The fleet mobilized, moving as one under Alara's precise command. Every ship had a role, every soldier a task, and every pilot a chance to prove that humans were more than mere survivors. They were leaders, innovators, and fighters unlike any the galaxy had known. The first phase of the battle was chaotic. Jaren ships cut through space like predators, striking at the outer defenses of human-held systems. Energy beams lit the void, and alarms rang across every bridge. Yet humans were prepared. Alara had anticipated their moves, and the fleet responded with tactics that the enemy could not predict. Smaller squadrons feigned retreats, drawing the enemy into traps, while larger cruisers struck from unexpected angles, exploiting weaknesses no alien had imagined. Alara herself led a squadron into the heart of the battle. Her fighter weaved through debris and enemy fire, striking targets with precision. Every maneuver was calculated, every attack executed with clarity, but always with the human unpredictability that made the aliens hesitate. She was more than a commander. She was the spark that inspired her people to fight beyond what they thought possible. Hours passed. Ships on both sides were damaged, and the battle seemed endless. Yet humans continued to innovate. Engineers adapted alien technology, creating new shields and weapons that allowed them to exploit enemy vulnerabilities. Pilots devised tactics on the fly, using gravitational fields and nebula clouds to conceal movements. Every human act of courage, every creative strategy, pushed the Jaren forces back inch by inch. During a brief pause in the battle, intelligence revealed the enemy's plan. They intended a coordinated strike on the human command center, hoping to capture or kill Ilara and break the fleet's morale. The revelation only strengthened her resolve. "We will not give them that chance," she said to her officers. "Every human under my command will fight with ingenuity, courage, and unity. They may be powerful, but humans are unpredictable. We will survive and we will win." Ilara divided her forces. Smaller, faster squadrons would intercept the enemy's strike teams, while the main fleet would position to defend the command center. Each move was a calculated risk, requiring absolute trust in her soldiers and allies. The enemy attack came swiftly. Elite Jaren fighters darted through space with blinding speed, targeting the Aurora and other key ships. Explosions rocked the fleet as shields flared and weapons discharged. Yet humans did not panic. They adapted, reacting in ways the aliens could not predict, using erratic movements, decoy drones, and feints to confuse the attackers. Ilara's presence in the battle was vital. Pilots reported feeling an extraordinary confidence when following her maneuvers. Seeing their princess engage directly, risking herself alongside them, ignited a courage that no technology could measure. Human ships moved like a single organism, coordinating attacks with precision, intuition, and relentless spirit. Meanwhile, the Allied ships from neutral systems played a critical role. Their unique technologies and specialized tactics complemented human ingenuity, creating a combined force the Jaren had never encountered. One alien diplomat, watching from their command ship, whispered in awe, "These humans, they fight not with strength alone, but with mind and heart. They are extraordinary." The battle reached its peak as the Jaren deployed their largest weapon, a massive energy cannon capable of destroying entire planets. Its target was the human capital world, where millions relied on Ilara's leadership. The moment was critical. If humans could not stop it, the war would be lost. Ilara did not hesitate. She led a strike team directly toward the weapon, using every tactical insight, gravitational advantage, and creative maneuver she had learned in previous battles. Smaller squadrons provided cover, while engineers on the command ships hacked enemy systems, creating openings for her team. The fight was tense, dangerous, and nearly impossible. Explosions and energy surges surrounded the human fighters, yet Ilara remained focused, guiding her squadron with precision and courage. Every pilot relied on her instincts, knowing that their survival and the survival of humanity depended on her leadership. With a final daring maneuver, Ilara's team breached the defenses of the cannon. Engineers and soldiers worked together to disable its energy core. The weapon powered down, and the threat to the capital world vanished. Cheers erupted across the fleet, but Ilara knew the battle was not yet over. The main fleet pressed the advantage. Humans and allies coordinated to push the Jaren forces back, targeting supply lines, command ships, and elite squadrons. Each engagement highlighted the humans' unique strength, adaptability. They improvised, learned, and exploited weaknesses faster than any alien force could respond. As the last of the elite Jaren ships retreated, Ilara addressed her fleet. "Today, we have faced the mightiest enemy in the galaxy and proven that courage, creativity, and unity can overcome even the most powerful forces. Humans are not weak, and we never will be. The galaxy will remember this day." Her words were not mere celebration. They were a reminder that leadership meant inspiring others, sharing risks, and showing that every individual's courage contributed to the whole. Soldiers, pilots, engineers, and allies felt the truth in her message. They had not only survived but triumphed because of their combined strength and ingenuity. News of the victory spread quickly. Across multiple systems, humans and allies celebrated. The Jaren coalition, humbled and forced to retreat, reassessed their assumptions about humanity. They had thought humans were weak, but now they understood that humans were unpredictable, resilient, and capable of extraordinary feats when united under determined leadership. Alara, however, remained vigilant. She knew the war was not fully over. Threats would always exist, and humanity's place in the galaxy would require constant courage and intelligence. Yet she also knew that this victory had changed the perception of humans forever. No longer underestimated, they had earned respect across the stars. In the quiet hours after the battle, Alara walked among her fleet. She visited medbays, praising the dedication of medical teams. She checked on engineers and pilots, acknowledging their contributions. Every human, no matter their role, had been essential to the triumph. Her leadership was not about glory, it was about recognition, unity, and inspiration. As she gazed out into the stars, she reflected on the journey. Humans had faced overwhelming odds, endured terrifying battles, and overcome enemies who seemed unbeatable. Yet they had triumphed through ingenuity, courage, and the refusal to yield. She understood that the true power of humanity lay not in weapons or technology, but in the mind, the heart, and the spirit of those who fought together. A messenger arrived with news from allied worlds. Many neutral species, inspired by humanity's victories and Alara's leadership, were offering long-term alliances, trade agreements, and cooperative defense pacts. The galaxy was beginning to recognize humanity as a force not only to survive, but to lead, innovate, and protect. Alara addressed her crew one last time before returning to the bridge of the Aurora. "We have won a great victory, but we must continue to stand vigilant. The galaxy is vast, and there will always be challenges. Remember this: courage is contagious, ingenuity is unstoppable, and unity is our greatest strength. Today, humanity has proven itself. Tomorrow, we will continue to show the stars what we are capable of." The crew erupted in cheers, voices carrying across ships and comms channels. Humans, once underestimated, had not only survived, they had rewritten the expectations of the galaxy. Princess Alara had led them with courage, cleverness, and unwavering presence, proving that a leader's heart and mind could inspire victories even against the most formidable enemies. In the calm of the night, Alara looked out at the void, her reflection mingling with the starlight. She whispered, "We have shown the galaxy who we are. And this is only the beginning." The stars seemed to shine brighter, as if acknowledging humanity's triumph, and somewhere in the distance, other civilizations began to prepare not to dominate humans, but to stand with them. Alara knew that future battles would come, but she also knew that humans had the strength, the intelligence, and the courage to face any challenge. She had led her people from the front, shared every risk, and inspired them to believe in themselves. That was the true victory, not the destruction of enemy ships, but the awakening of a species to its own potential. The galaxy had learned a lesson that could never be forgotten. Humans were not to be underestimated. And Princess Alara, fearless and brilliant, would continue to lead them, showing the stars that humanity's courage, ingenuity, and unity were forces unlike any other. With that, she turned from the viewport, ready to guide her people into whatever future the galaxy might hold, confident that humanity would thrive among the stars, forever proving that courage, intelligence, and heart could overcome any challenge. The human princess led the war from the front lines.